Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Unite Mathcast, an insight into the objective and subjective mathematics of Pokemon Unite. Before we begin, this podcast is sponsored by UniteDB, the foremost authority on the mathematics and formulas hidden within Pokemon Unite. More on them later. But today on the Mathcast, we have some guests, starting with world champion Lazadin.
I'm also the world's greatest streamer.
Our creator SteveMyCat.
Hello, your resident spin to wins arena main.
And our nerd Evochron.
Why do we have that lever?
And of course, me, Math Geek. Hi. We at the Math Cord believe seeing the same image through different perspectives allows us to see a more complete picture of the truth. So I brought on three particularly interesting, unique perspectives today to talk about Unite. Today's topic is emblems. So what's on the docket today? We've got a lot to talk about today. So Evo, this is like essentially your episode. This is your chance to nerd out among three people who care about your work. So emblems, where do you want to start?
That's a really good question. I think let's go with some of the newer stuff that we discovered.
Okay.
When we first did our emblems episode a couple months ago, I want to say at this point.
Yeah, episode 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, so at that time we were looking at emblems and how they're having the effect on your stats. What we assumed and didn't end up fully verifying then was that percent bonuses would affect your items, would affect your other in-game stats. Turns out they only affect your base stats. So the bonuses themselves are less important for Pokemon who don't already have so much of a stat. So for example, if you're not a speedster, brown emblem, if you're not a speedster or an attacker, brown emblems don't do too much for you. If you're not a special attacker, special attack emblem, the green bonus doesn't do much for you. Instead, it's kind of more important to look at the flats versus the stat and when those breakpoints occur. So say for example, a Blastoise with a 6%, with a 4% emblem boost, i.e. using 6 greens, that amounts to about, say, 12 special attack at a very high level, which sometimes you're not even going to get to that in a game. So instead of using 6 green, you're actually better off using, say, 4 green, which is going to be Venomoth, Vileplume, Venusaur, for example. And instead, you want to try to get some more flat stats, and that's how you're going to be more powerful in the early game. And this is not exclusive to special attack. This works for a flat attack and especially HP, because the highest value for any Pokemon is HP, and that's the only value in the thousands.
Yeah, that's one of the big things, is that when we're looking at flat stats, basically the percentage that we thought we had before is actually even less than we thought it was when it comes to the green, when it comes to colored bonuses. So flat bonuses are so much more powerful. And when we're looking at defensive stuff, we've talked about this before several times, but defenses and special defense just aren't worthwhile. Like, pretty much at all, even right now. If you are putting an emblem towards defense or special defense, it's probably better for you to put that towards HP instead. Or putting it towards a different color bonus, like an offensive one, or a or an HP color bonus, for example. It really just seems like at the moment the big I need to fill in a void stat is HP, right?
Yes.
HP really gives you your biggest power spike early, because when you're having those early engagements, an extra 200 to 300 HP in the early laning phase when you're trying to last hit farm can make or break the difference between you actually surviving the encounter and then being able to continue on and push onto a goal zone, whereas without it, you might just either trade or potentially lose your ability to push ahead and take the advantage that you just gained.
I will caveat that when you're talking about dropping other stats for it, defense is not a dump stat. Do not go too far in the negatives, because that will affect you, well, in a very negative way. And there's actually a unique corner case that I will get into later.
For context on numbers, most Pokemon below or at level 5 that aren't tanks don't have even 100 defense stats. So when you have lower defense, the more you lose, the more it actually ends up hurting you. So in the early game, yes, the early game, losing 10 or 15 defense can be a lot of extra damage you take.
Yeah, so just about, I would say pretty much almost, actually that might be exactly. I'm going to say, based on my cursory mathematics here, actually no, there's more Mons. There are more Mons that have fewer than 100 defense at level 5 than mons that have 100 or more. Which means that you losing like 35 defenses will really put a significant chunk in your final HP.
I'll also throw out there that, especially with the second batch of emblems, there's not really a good reason to dump either of the defenses. Like, every mon has at least one stat they really don't give a fuck about.
Well, I don't entirely agree with that. Like one good example of that is A9. A9 cares about all of their stats. It even cares about their attack stat because a lot of the time you are basic attacking anyways. Yes, it cares about its attack stat less than it cares about its special attack because most of its auto attacks are boosted, but that doesn't mean that, like, Pikachu and Ninetales, for example, both have a lot of auto heavy kits even when they're not actively doing the things that, you know.
But even even if you're minus 20 attack on an A9, like, you're losing maybe I'd hazard a guess at like less than probably like 7 to 8% of your auto attack damage early game, because a lot of it is one for muscle band and two boosted. So like even if you do minus 20 in A9, you're not gonna really feel it that bad.
Well, the other portion is even if you go full minus 20, which you generally speaking won't because you're looking for color bonuses with those. For A9 specifically, when we're talking about Auroraville, we're going to be looking at 7 red, 4 white. And we don't have any green whatsoever, but for every single white, we're looking at Articuno, we're looking at Moltres, we're looking at Porygon. These are all emblems that give plus special attack flat, such that the entire the A9 Auroraville set is 7 red emblems with 4 white, like I said, but you actually have a total of plus 15 special attack because the emblems, the flat bonuses of the emblems themselves, lean towards that in the first place, for whatever reason.
I would like to actually address a point that Echo Fallen just made in the chat here, where we both said out of the opposite sides of our mouth, getting more defense is not worth it, but losing defense, please not. It is kind of funny how we're like advocating exact opposites, where in one case defensive specials shouldn't be tanked, but on the other hand, defense is worthless and you shouldn't be getting it.
It's a very fine balancing act.
Because HP is good the entire game. Defense is important to have in the early game. The problem is that having more defense in the early game usually doesn't matter that much, but having less defense in the early game does end up impacting you a not insignificant amount. Likewise, in the late game, losing defense doesn't really matter. Gaining defense also really doesn't matter. So the gain-loss doesn't really matter in the end. I'd say that it probably wouldn't be unreasonable to take like a defense or a special defense rune if you wanted to. But the only reason you would do that is if you're trying to like complete a color already and it just happens to fit one of those and you have no HP ones available. The HP ones are just so much better for the most part that if you have to dump a stat and you should probably do the weaker attack stat because you're going to be using it a lot less. But if you're dumping defenses, it's not that huge of a deal in the end. You shouldn't go overboard because it can really mess with your early game clears if you're taking too much damage right at the very beginning. But like once you've gotten past like level 5 or like level 6, it really does not matter.
I will say that with HP, like it is a good stat. It is not the god stat. Like there are cases.
I don't agree.
There are cases where you still need that little bit of extra attack to get through your clears earlier and faster. Okay. So I will give you a specific example. I usually play T-Tar as a solo laner, and for me to get one less attack on the first 2 bundle bees, I need like 5 attack. And if I'm gonna get 5 attack, I'm just gonna get the 6 attack flat in the first place, and the rest of my stuff also matters. And this is also the unique corner case where I'm talking about the negative stats, and especially for T-Tar. If I'm not running Focus Band and I have 0 defensive items, T-Tar's passive ability, the Sandstream, actually multiplies the negative stats and applies those negative stats more so. So if I have negative 3 defense and I hit Sandstream, my defense actually goes to negative. My defense minus actually goes to net -5. It's a little bit stupid, and that comes down to the order of operations of when the bonus applications occur and to where.
For those not familiar, Sandstream is the level 9 passive that gives T-Tar a bonus to its defense and special defense by 65%.
Which, 2/3 increase. But what's interesting is that it seems like for some goddamn reason, Sandstream is the only buffing effect in the game that cares about those minuses.
Not true. We have not true actually. We have Eldegoss. We have Eldegoss and Snorlax block, specifically at the pluses.
Ah, interesting. Snorlax block works that way?
Yes, Snorlax both has a % DR and it has a special defense increase.
Interesting. Cool. We actually don't have the DR currently on UDB. We'll have to do that later.
Well, at least it has one in the files. I forgot if we ever double check that. It's hard to do with the fucking shield.
But yes, it also considers your plus bonuses. That's also a consideration you might want to think about.
Although, to be fair, most of the time you're not hitting 13 on Snorlax in a game.
I just wanted to address specific wording about the god stat thing. HP is 100% the god stat. I'm just gonna say, like, at least my experience, it is like if you don't have a goal for your thing, stacking up on HP is great. The thing about emblems is that you can go for a goal. There might be an objective to how you're building your emblems. One of it could be getting a faster clear. If you're practicing with clears and you realize that you're just barely missing the damage on one of the early mons doing your full cycle, getting like 1 or 2 extra little buffs into attack, maybe 3 or 4 if necessary, can get you that extra the extra timing on clearing, which could save you 3, 4, 5 seconds early game. The extra 4 attack is going to do pretty much nothing in your late game, but that doesn't really matter, because if you're able to leverage some of your emblems to get an advantage early, that is meaningful enough, because early advantages do compound. That's the same reason why we say don't really tank your defense, because you don't want to have the damage and punishments you're getting from the early clear impede your ability to continue invading and doing things. But I do think that as a general stat, unless you're going for something specific and there's a reason for you to do something else like that, you should probably just be loading up on HP.
I can agree with that.
I would like to add a small caveat to that. Just don't dump all of your stats. When we say god stat for HP, it's if you have the decision to increase a stat and HP is an option, HP is generally your option. However, do not dump other stats all the way for HP, because that will not come out good for you.
Yeah, you need to be sure like what you're going to be dumping into, because whatever you're losing is going to be meaningful. Like if you're going to be playing Zero Aura, then yeah, dumping your special attack for HP is going to be totally fine. There's not going to be really any downside to it. You're lowering your critical hit on a mon that has 0 critical hit isn't going to hurt you. But if you're going to be like decreasing your attack, that's going to be not insignificant. Decreasing your defenses will not be insignificant and will end up hurting the amount of benefit you get from HP. Yeah, it's all about like looking as to what you actually have, what you can afford to lose, and then doing the math on what you actually end up benefiting from it.
I actually want to shout out to move speed, because while move speed is not fully understood, I have definitely had reports of people dodging moves that they shouldn't be able to dodge with extra move speed, and sometimes that is, oddly enough, worth sacrificing. Sorry?
I said feely crafting.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of feely crafting, but like, I'm not cutting out move speed yet to a point where I'm objectively saying like that move speed is a dump stat. It's very similar in a way to defenses. Like if I don't get hit because I have the extra move speed, then that's also fine for me to not necessarily have the HP. And again, very, very, very like big warning, don't take that as that move speed is that important either, but just like don't go to our builder, don't go to speed and then click negative and then put everything there, because again with most of these cases as well, if I hit negative special attack, I'm not actually getting bonuses to every single thing that I necessarily want to either.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, if you hit negative special attack, you get like fucking 8 good emblems at this point. Like, they've been very kind to physical attackers.
It's actually very frustrating. If you're looking for are we looking for plus HP minus special attacks?
Well, there's Pidgeot and there's Kangaskhan from the white set. There's Seeking and Dugong from the blue set. Nidoqueen for the brown and purple. For brown, there's Primeape. So yeah, and
Holy
for
shit.
black, there's Muck.
There's literally 8 different mons right now that have plus HP minus special attack. Kangaskhan, Sea King, Muck, Dugong, Primeape, Nidoqueen, Pidgeot, and Clefairy. Which means if wait, what one of these minus defenses? Oh, not Clefairy. Yeah, I might have by accident. Well, the problem right now is I'm doing negative special attack. So it's just I've just gotta like filter through and see if I can find each one. Okay, but yeah, so 7 of them then.
Yeah, Pidgeot, Primeape, Muck, Dugong, Kangaskhan, Sea King, Nidoqueen. But the rest of the stuff, like again, you kind of want to use the other stuff as well, but not all of it. So Raticate is a fantastic example. You can use a Pidgey or a Chansey to drop your defense by -5, but then you're transferring that -5 into a +5 with Raticate, and so now you have 2 emblems that give you plus 50 HP and -3 special attack in exchange, but you're also getting 2 pieces towards your white bonus.
Yeah, so that's one of the things as well, that because you have Kangaskhan and Pidgeot on your side, you'd be able to build towards the whites, which is just more HP. You already get an innate 2 blue if you're going to be running both Sea King and Dugong. You're already going to get an innate 2 orange if you're running Primeape and Nidoqueen. Yeah, and you get a little of inch of the way towards purple and blacks. So there's so much flexibility you have in attacking sets, depending on what exact kind of thing you're going for. If you want to go the tankiest you possibly can, you can just load up on blue and whites and you'd be fine. Especially if there's ones that like subtract your speed, or if there's one that subtracts more special attacks and increases defenses, for example. That would just be
Crit rate is a big available dump stat actually, but again, there's still some trade. Yeah, it depends on the mon, and there's still some trade-offs because, like I said, you, technically speaking, yes, it's very possible to get a 6 white bonus by going for minus special attack only, but not all of them are plus HP. So the white bonus, if you're going for tanky, you need to be looking for 6 white, guaranteed, flat out, no questions answered or no questions asked. You need to be going for a 6 white bonus. Blurple is blue and purple. Blurple are going to be incidental. You have Poliwrath, you've got Kabutops, you've got the Nidoqueen, you've got the Nidoking.
You have the Dugong Sea King. Like, if it happens to come up, that's fine. But if you don't go for it.
What we're saying is the 6 brown, 6 blue, 6 purple meme sets that get posted are usually bad.
Yeah, like I think the big thing people want to say, "Oh man, I've min-maxed this, so I have the most amount of blah 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 blah." But it's not about quantity in any one; it's about what do you end up with in the very end. And the amount of times where I've seen a post on Reddit that was like, "Hey guys, I just made the optimal the optimal emblem set for XYZ," and it's like, okay, why do you have 30 HP in your like you have 1 positive HP item in that? What the heck? Question mark?
Yeah, nuking your flat stats for your bonuses as well isn't always good, because while HP like the 6 white is very, very good, like you only get 200 extra HP when you have 5,000 HP from like your emblems. So if you're nuking a lot of your stats, you're not recouping a lot of that with the percent bonuses until you're almost halfway through the game.
That's something that's interesting. The flat ones you almost always recoup pretty easily, especially if you're dividing it up, correctly, because 30 HP is just better than defenses 90% of the time. I think what was it? It's like 50 HP is the equivalent of having 9 defense and 9 special defense added on average, minimum, like roughly.
At a minimum.
Well, not at a minimum. At a minimum, I think it's like 7.5 is like the bare minimum. But that's once you go up to like the really high values. Like on average, I think it's not about 9. Some of them go up to 10. Some go down to 8. But like 8 to 10 is like your kind of range there. Which
if they made the plus or minus defense like 7, then it actually might be a consideration to go for full defense pages, I think. But
even if they went 6, even if the defenses were 6, then it might be more worthwhile. Like, is it going to be perfect? No, of course not.
Sucks, though. Blurple still sucks no matter what they do. They have to like
wait,
double it.
Yeah,
wait,
of course.
Sorry, just to clarify, blue bonuses and purple bonuses go by 2, 4, and 8.
Yes.
HP is 1, 2, and 4% as we go.
Yes.
And the other thing to note is as you see with all of the emblems, basically, it's the more you specialize, the more benefit you get out of it. You get 1% at the first, you get 2% at the second, but you're doubling that again when you get to the third set bonus. So when the black emblems took a nerf, I would have actually think that the switching that down to a 2, 4, 6 set bonus instead of the 3, 5, 7 would have been more acceptable. But who knows?
Now we gotta put Beedrill on sets. It's not fun.
We just need to wait for Gen 2 for Ariados.
Yeah, right.
I hope that's not anytime soon.
So yeah, I think that HP is like almost always the correct set to take unless you are unless you have an idea in mind. And that's the big thing, is that like if you're going to be building a set, you should consider, what do you want the emblems to do? Do you want them to make you tankier? Do you want to do more damage? Are you looking to like last longer in fights? Like one of the kind of, jokey memes that I'm sure I've said a million times, which is death is the best crowd control. If you're able to kill them before they kill you, then you win the fight, obviously. But that does extend both directions. It's not so much that you have to deal more damage to them, but they have to deal less damage to you. Being tankier does give you a damage increase by virtue of you lasting longer in fights, in theory. So when you think about like how you want to balance things, consider the flat damage things you're going to be getting as like early game buffs to try getting certain things to fall your way. And then consider HP generally is what you're going to be doing for the rest of the game in terms of benefits. The percentages just really aren't worth it.
So funnily enough, one of the sets that we recommend right now is 150 HP approximately, and then 12 attack. 12 attack is one stack of an attack weight. So like that is very much like, okay, I started the game with an extra attack weight stack. If I told you that, how much, like, and I didn't ask you what was the cost, you would probably take that.
Yeah. I mean, would you rather take 12 attack or 150 HP? And the answer, like, 12 attack can be incredibly useful on a lot of mons.
Well, I'm saying you take both, because you get both.
Well, I was implying instead of taking the extra 150 HP you could have gotten if you chose to just do 30 HP flat.
Oh, okay. I find it a bit strange. This is a bit of a tangent, but the value of stats on items and the value of stats on emblems, sort of correlates, but also like really doesn't. So let's talk about one stack, okay? How much is a cookie? 200. How much is an attack weight? 12. Okay. So you're getting 6 flat attack emblems or 4 flat HP emblems? Okay.
Yep.
Let's throw special attack into the mix. What's the attack specs? 16. So 5 1/3.
Yeah. Like the way that I look at it is like you need 4 HP stacks in order to be able to get an AO's cookie. In order for you to be able to get an attack weight, you need 6. But like, what the actual hell? Like, why did none of these line up? Like, you would think that there would be like that they would have balanced them to be roughly the same, and they have balanced them to be roughly the same. But they balanced them with the idea that special attackers don't really get good auto damage, so they're like somewhat nerfing the special attack, or somewhat nerfing like the physical attack, because that's like a little too good. But then like if they're doing that, then why not extend that to emblems as well? It's just so inconsistent. Like the valuation for HP, like they have focus band at 30 special defense, 30 defense. Okay, let's compare that to Buddy Barrier, who has 450 HP. Okay, so they're saying that about 5% of your HP, that's how the Buddy focus band correlates. 5% of your maximum HP is worth about 450 HP. Wait a moment, which mons have like 9,000 HP? Because that's the only way that logic ends up making sense. Like, you need to have like 9,000 HP in order for that to be equivalent.
Sure, but at the same time, I think that's kind of fine, because the pacing of the game, just how it goes, and like how even as is, there's a lot of damage going around, and for moves in particular, a majority of the time, it's not actually your stat scaling that does the damage. It's actually the base damage.
Also, something to think about specifically with the special attack ones is special attack has better tie-ins to CDR, whereas you can't get that inside of white or brown. So while the special attack might not feel as strong, it does incidentally gain you access to more other emblem bonuses, and 4% CDR, while it may not feel like a lot sometimes, or seem like a lot with some of the calculations we've done, sometimes that extra quarter second to a third of a second off of your ability is the difference between you winning the fight and you getting knocked out.
Or a perfect example is ICU and Glaceon right now. You need a very minimum 16.67% cooldown reduction to get your double IC wins. But no one is a robot, so that CDR needs to be higher.
I actually think that 16.67 isn't correct. 16.67 is the mathematical amount that you would have in order to be able to reach the expected value. But that wouldn't actually be true because of the way that that it seems like cooldowns round in terms of the 4 frame buckets. I think it actually needs to be closer to like 17 or 18, I think, in order for you to actually reach it.
Sure, but there's no way that we were getting 16.67 by emblem or items in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, when you count the CDR you have from Glaceon anyways.
Well,
You're rounding, you've got frames.
You can get 16.5 through some shenanigans, but that's the weirdest number you can get.
I mean, and with items as well, if you're going to be talking about
unless you have like
with Shell Bell as well,
like a level 27 Shell Bell, I'm sure you can get to 16.7 CDR.
Oh, please don't bring in not fully leveled items in this case.
Ooh,
no.
Level 20 muscle band.
No.
In a tournament mode, we're expected to have everything boosted in the first place. Granted, we don't have emblems in tournament mode yet, but that's a separate thing.
Don't you remember like the first 2 months of the game where they declared that everything was pay to win because you'd be able to get your items to level 20 before everybody else?
Ugh, don't even get me started on that.
Fun times.
Remember Charlie's video, like Critical? When he's like Pokemon Unite is pay to win, he goes into like some beginner ranked matches and then just stomps a bunch of noobs and says it's because it's pay to win.
I mean, that was largely debunked by a bunch of streamers also just being like, look, I'm not going to have items and I'm going to climb back to Masters. Oops, I'm in Masters. I don't have items. Guess I paid to win somewhere else.
Yeah.
Friendly reminder that someone got top 4 at a Japanese regional with one of their item slots being basically blank.
Wait, what do they use?
They used scope lens on Crustle back when it wasn't working.
Back when he put it in the wrong order, you mean?
No. Like it was one of those cases where like that Stealth Rocks could crit on the previous patch, but then the patch that the regional was played on it couldn't crit anymore. They didn't switch their scope lens off.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and on the discussions with items and emblems, I think one of the things that emblems allows you to do is strike a very interesting balance with what your builds can be, because it was that you've effectively only had 3 item slots to go in with to try and figure out what you wanted your bonus stats to be, but emblems allow you to pivot a little bit more, because the stats that you think you would have needed off of your items, you can then get off of your emblems instead, and then get that extra item that you want. So in lieu of a defensive item, you could just go full defensive stats and then run your full damage setup and try and get that little extra bonus you want, which I think is a nice kind of like interaction that you can have in terms of having more build diversity.
Way back when, I was having a conversation with some people in another server a while ago, and I was talking about how absolutely god-awful weakness policy was, and how it's just not an item anybody will ever want to take because the buff is minor, the HP, it's essentially 2 third items shoved together. So it is not better, like the 2 halves of it, the HP and attack, don't really offset what the actual item gives you, and you'd rather run like pretty much anything else. But then somebody made an interesting point about, well, if you're only looking for like a small amount of attack, you realize that your breakpoint is like, I only need like 12 more attack, so I can get a weakness policy, in which case I get that, and I don't waste an entire item just getting into attack I don't need. Instead, I could get a little bit of tankiness from it. So that was kind of the niche that I understood with weakness policy, where you would only ever get it if you really just want to get that breakpoint of attack, and then you just want to have tank otherwise. So you'd probably be running 2 HP items and then a weakness policy.
Or if you're running like attack rate stackers and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah. Well, that even still, I'm not a huge fan of that unless you're like a reasonably tanky all-rounder, pretty much like Lucario, I guess.
Well, actually, all rounders are basically using weakness policy and attack weight at this point. I think, like other than
Yeah,
Charizard, maybe.
No, if you run, okay, hold on. Don't you dare say the words weakness policy, Charizard. There was actually, I don't know if anybody was aware of this, but back during regionals time, this again another tangent. Feel free to interrupt me whenever, but there was this very popular Japanese build that was like a weight, weakness. I want to say scope, weight, weakness, scope for Charizard.
Ooh.
And I was asked about this probably on 9 separate occasions by different people. Partially because there was a player that used it during NA regionals as well. And I told everyone the exact same fucking thing. If you are not running Muscle Band on Charizard, you are a griefer.
Yep, 100%.
And if you are not running skill points on Charizard, you are a griefer. So that leaves you with 1 item slot. And weakness policy is not an item that you can put there. Like, it just does not do enough.
Like, you absolutely need to run his, like, the 2 items that make his damage not shit. Like, his main primary gimmick that makes him interesting as a Mon is his basic attack. And there are exactly 2 items that have a special interaction with his auto attack to make him do a lot of damage. Why in the world are you only taking 1?
Yeah.
Or not
To be clear, I did say other than Charizard.
Yeah, he did say other than Charizard. But I just wanted to make that abundantly clear that under no circumstances should you even attempt weakness policy Charizard. It is his 6th, off the top of my head, best item mathematically, assuming it is fully stacked.
So we have 10 total all-rounders, one of which being Charizard. Aegislash. Aegislash doesn't run weakness policy?
Yeah, it does. Overall,
it does.
Worlds.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
the sword stats. The sword stats and the attack weight
are
I guess because he could be in defensive form. When he's in defensive form, it's probably decent.
No,
it's good. It's good all the time.
You fully stack it in defensive form. You swap forms. You take
that's
one
what I
more
mean,
instance of damage, and it swaps back. Like it's insane.
Yeah. That's what I would mean, is that, like, because that Aegislash has the defensive stance, like, if he was always in sword stance, like, he does not have the defensive stats to be able to run that comfortably.
Well,
like,
we can go through all the all-rounders and have the same discussion, but really, I want to put a pin on this to talk about order of operations afterwards then. So, Aegislash, definitely a weakness policy user. Next one would be Azumarill. Ven, Steve, anything ideas yet?
That is definitely a weakness policy user.
100%.
Why?
I should clarify.
Why is Scope Lens
policy user in
an
lane
optional?
Yes.
Why is Scope Lens an optional item on Azumarill?
It's optional because a lot of the time people do not let you isolate targets.
In lower, like, if you're playing in a more coordinated setting, people are not going to let Azumarill 1v1 or deal single target damage to you. Because if you're fighting against Azumarill, if you're not pulling towards a teammate or a neutral Mon to stop the crits, you're kind of hurting yourself in that situation. So Azumarill needs a way to deal damage in its not optimal situation, because if you build Azumarill strictly for the optimal situation and you're not critting, you do not have an item on.
Further to that statement, Azumarill has a lot of sustain built through attack damage. Your Whirlpool and your Aquatail both heal based on your attack stat.
And your ultimate gives you 100, like, what is it? At level 9, 100 stack or attack increase with weakness policy gets you effectively another attack weight stack. So Azumarill's Unite works with it, which then weakness policy boosts, and then that further boosts all of Azumarill's damage and sustain.
Mm-hmm. We should also be a bit more precise in saying that when you're talking about, like, yes, Whirlpool's heal does stack with attack, but it's such a minor amount that, like, Aquatail, that's a significant use case. I would say, yeah, if you're running Aquatail, then I think that it's arguable and say, yeah, sure, if you want to run weakness policy, you're reasonably tanky. But Whirlpool just does not heal, like, at all.
Whirlpool heals a lot. Whirlpool heals a lot.
It's an 18% scaling, and if you're hitting, like, a target with it, say, like, I don't know, you only have to hit a target 5 times with it to get one of the Aquatail healing boosts off of it, and you're going to be hitting multiple
6 times, actually, but yeah, 6 times.
You hit multiple targets.
I'm looking at level 12 right now. At level 12, it's 91 versus 594. So you
sure,
can
but you're hitting
more than 5 times.
Right, but you're hitting multiple targets, and you can accelerate the hits by how you move.
Yes.
And in this, it's you get a lot of healing off of it at the end of the game. Like, it's looking at the end game stats and checking Zumaril's Whirlpool healing. The stats are very high, especially even if you're not running or Focus Band.
I think it's a little bit weird how you're talking about like Whirlpool having to hit 6 times in order for it to be fair, which is reasonable, but Aquatail can hit 3 times, each of which gets 600 healing.
Oh, Aquatail's a shit move, then you should never run it.
And it's also from a distance. If you don't hit the distance hit, you do not heal. Yeah. Whirlpool is, I exist near you, I heal.
That's fair, that's fair.
And also, Whirlpool cannot be, or Aquatail cannot be accelerated, it will always hit.
And exactly Whirlpool's upgrade does increase the amount of heals by a not insignificant amount.
Correct.
Yes.
And it's a fast upgrade too, level 11, not a 13. Next one, Buzzwole. Yeah. I think Buzzwole's bad. I don't really want to talk about it, actually, to be honest.
Buzzwole isn't tanky enough.
Yeah.
Dragonite, I could see it, but I'd probably
don't run it.
Nope.
No. Yeah, there's other. Obviously,
yes.
Obviously, we're also talking about item slots in terms of like competitiveness. So there are situations where even though it could be good, it's just not because something else is better.
Correct.
Garchomp doesn't run it.
No.
Dig versions of Garchomp can run it.
Yeah, because like he's tanky enough to be able to deal with it pretty comfortably. Like, I think he'd be able to get the benefit from it, kind of fine.
Again, Dig versions can run it, but. Most Dragon versions do not.
Lucario,
Garchomp,
yes, runs it. Machamp, I guess, Machamp probably run it.
Machamp doesn't run it because of complicated reasons involving how the math on the ultimate and the passive and everything works. But
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll get back to that when we talk about. We'll get back to that when we talk about the pin.
Yeah, Zarina will never take it off.
Will never take it off.
Her attack scalings are among the highest. Out of all the All-Rounders, if you take out like Machamp's literal, I can increase my attack to forever, and you like a stomp before they nerfed it. The triple stomp combo had close to 1,000% ratio. You do not take weakness.
We have to remember that it's not just the ratio we care about, but it's about how the ratio compares against the against the base. But yes, like right now, if we look at stomp pre-upgrade, we have like what. 75% of the damage on the first hit is an attack, and so that's holy shit. What the fuck?
Her stats are high, and when you look at triple axle,
it's not just that her stats are high. Is that the ratio to base like comparison is so top heavy. Holy crap!
Yes.
Here's as a Zarina main, let me gush for a second about this character. First, she can lower your defense with her boosted attack. Second, she can spam abilities like nobody's business. You can get triple stomps off easily once you get her stuff down. Triple Axle, you look at its ratios, you're like, not as bad, until you realize it increases your auto attack damage and triple axle damage by 30% after it's done. So all of those ratios you're looking at, up them by 30%, including her basic attacks. And icing on the cake, her Grassy Glide and Trop Kick shields have a 225% shield scaling ratio.
I heard you like Buddy Barrier.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, it's her shields when you don't have any stat boosts at all are literally 25% of her health. So every time you shield with Zarina, it is a 25% shield, aka Buddy Barrier. I get a shield.
It is actually like that. That's not even an exaggeration. I thought you were exaggerating a little bit.
No, it's 25%.
11, she has 5,300 HP, and the shield is 1,300 HP. It's like 24% of her max HP. What the shit?
And her Unite also has ridiculous scaling. I think that's what, a 450, 650 total scaling in terms of damage. And it has a heal that's based off of your attack. You will never take weakness policy off this character.
Shout out to my favorite troll build, Amp Serena.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, I've done that, but it's funny. It's cute.
Serena's first 9 hits on the ult don't really scale like tremendously well with attack. Like it's fine, but it's like a bit average. But that final hit, my god!
The first hit, there's 9 of them. There's 9 of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, but
that's a 450% scaling.
I'm not looking at the at like the percentage. I'm looking at the comparison from it to base, which means it doesn't matter how many hits you do, because in this case it has a base of 70 and it's 234 attack 234 damage at level 11.
Still
so you're looking at like a
70%.
third. Yeah, 70%. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. It's like 2/3 ish. But then you have the final hit, which is like 80% of its damage is in its attack, which means it just scales so hilariously, tremendously well with attack. It just, what in the hell?
I will also point out that there is disagreement among Serena players about this particular item. Actually, there's some that prefer Razor Claw, some prefer Muscle. Like, there is not like a...
Well, sure.
But, like, there are reasons to run other items, I will say that. But Weakness Policy is very, very good.
Yeah, Weakness Policy is a guaranteed item slot you will never remove.
Oh, and T-Tar.
Yeah, so T-Tar, I'll speak to this. Like, T-Tar actually has some of the highest attack for an all-rounder, so it's great on it. You're going to want to stack attack weight. Basically with T-Tar, because you're capable of doing true damage, your attack stat scales significantly better because of that true damage. You're always getting that full 90 value. You're always getting that full however much percent value of your Weakness Policy procs. So that's why, like, for T-Tar, you definitely still want it. And again, you want the HP. Sandstream is already buffing your other defenses. Your typically best build is going to be attack weight, Weakness Policy, and focus band. And I have the spreadsheets to prove that.
And Tyranitar has like one of the highest attack. Is it the highest attack out of all the all-rounders? Oh no, it's beaten by Garchomp and Dragonite.
Dragonite, yeah.
It has one of the highest attacks out of all of the all-rounders.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth it.
Garchomp is higher too.
Yeah,
as I said, Garchomp and Dragonite.
Garchomp.
Oh yeah, Garchomp and Dragonite, yeah.
So I guess this is a good time to actually talk about the order of operations, because Weakness Policy and Wise Glasses. These are items that have percentage adjustments to your stats, but so do your emblems. So order of operations, what's actually happening is it's going to take your base stats, it's going to multiply that by your emblems and your items, and then you're going to separately take your emblems flat stats and your items flat stats. Those are multiplied by your items multiplications and or moves and or abilities. It's kind of weird.
TLDR, your emblems only affect your base stats. Your items affect all of your stats. All multiplicative bonuses from, or all percentage bonuses from items and abilities are additive. And like, you know, if I don't multiply 120 times 20. If I have two 20% bonuses, I multiply 100 times 20 twice, or times 1.2 twice.
So essentially, it's times 1.4.
Yep, times 1.4. But under no circumstances do your emblem percentages interact with either your emblem flats, your item flats, or any in-game abilities.
They used to. We checked that with Azumarill, we checked that with Blastoise, but they don't anymore. So who knows in the next month when this will change.
Incredibly weird, but you know,
we're going to have to check this every single patch, aren't we?
Oh well, okay, kind of.
I still check the champs crit every patch.
I still check the defense formula every patch just because it terrifies the hell out of me.
HP is the easiest one to check. We'll just check HP every time. Easy day.
Well, yeah, the stats are really easy to check. The problem is how the stats do things. I'm still terrified of the day where they change Snorlax's flail. You have to go do all the bullshit mathematics again. It's like what, 5 axis, I think?
Hey, remember when they passed Dragon Pulse 3 times in a row? Wasn't that funny?
Yeah. Dragon Pulse. I think like the second most difficult move to calculate because of all the friggin' nested layers.
You know, we could for Flail, if they do end up changing it on us, under each thing where it says above 80%, we just put nope. And we just put that all the way down.
Yeah, we just put an an ASCII middle finger.
Poor Snorlax.
Thank you, Timmy Studios.
Keeping us in business. So what else is there on the docket then to go through for emblems?
I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. That is crit emblems.
Oh God.
They bad.
I mean, yes. The short answer is they're bad. Basically it comes down to how many of your moves crit, and if they do crit, how much versus a flat attack stat would you just be better off with the flat attack stat? I have a spreadsheet for that. It's pinned in the Emblems table, or in the Emblems channel. So far, a lot of the cases, if you want crit, it's going to be 8 crit emblems, but it's going to be level 15, and you're not going to hit that typically. Or it could be like Absol. Aegislash and Machamp, potential is there, but as we keep harping on, Cross Chop and Shadow Claw are not working as fully potentially intended. Crustle was was an interesting one, I will tell you that much, because the very first hit of X Scissor, which all of X Scissor is allowed to crit, but the very first hit of X Scissor likes critical emblems. The second and the third hits do not, and the reason for that is because of the base value versus the scaling of each hit.
Yep.
I will also say, and this is something that we don't talk about very frequently, crit emblems are also just really bad if you don't have good emblems. Bronze crit emblems are some of the most fucking worthless shit on the planet. 0.3%.
Yeah.
When is that ever going to matter? You if you auto attack 300 times in a game, you will on average crit 1 time more. Incredible.
So this was a funny leftover from League that I thought about, but is probably actually just not going to ever work. But when runes were a thing, it was actually somewhat optimal to put a single crit rune in place of one of these smaller bonuses, because it was close to 1%. And if you were fighting one-on-one with somebody and you got that lucky crit, odds are you won the fight. In Pokemon Unite, it's nowhere near the case, because you're using your moves significantly more than you are in every other MOBA.
Because the margins are a lot thinner in League than they are in
fair,
Unite.
Yep.
There is a case to be made that you can put a Kabutops instead of a Poliwrath on some of the sets on characters that don't run Scope Lens if you want to be funny. But why?
Well, okay, so there is an argument for this as well, which is between League and Pokemon Unite, you have to look at the pace in the game. A League game can last 40 minutes. Pokemon Unite, you're not going to have that time for that crit emblem to really give you that impact. Now, granted, also, Bronze emblem, not that great. Silver, okay, it's getting to 0.5. And the other interesting thing with some of these emblems is how they actually round. So last patch, we saw attack emblems get changed from 1 and 1.5 and 2 to now they are 1.2, 1.6, and 1 and 2 again. And the funny thing is, I discovered this, is your emblem bonuses will round. And this is actually, Krill, remind me to talk about Crustle right after this.
Yep.
Your bonuses will round, and while normally Unite is all about flooring, for emblems and Shell Smash, they will round to the next whole number appropriately.
They round correctly.
Yes.
So 1.5
so
goes to 2 or 1.4 goes to 1.
Yeah, exactly.
So these slight changes in gold versus silver, if I have 3 gold emblems for attack, let's say a Fearow, a Tauros, and a Gyarados, if one of them is silver, it doesn't matter. I'm getting 6 attack from that because it's going to be 2 plus 2 plus 1.6.
Do note this does not apply to crit emblems.
Correct. Crit doesn't round in any way.
Yes, and that was
we are aware of.
And that was the next point I was going to make. Is that it doesn't. We've tested with 0.3% crit. It can still crit, albeit a very small chance.
So, the main reason is because that, unlike attack, crit chance is held with a decimal. Crit chance is held to 1 decimal point. Attack is not. Attack is just held as a whole number, so when you have a fractional attack, it just rounds it down. But for crit emblems, I think is crit emblems and attack speed are the only ones in the game that go to fractional degrees. Everything else rounds, I believe.
Sorry, crit emblems and what? One more time, what was the other one?
Crit emblems and attack speed. Those are the only ones that go to decimal points. Everything else rounds.
Cooldown reduction as well, but we don't really talk about cooldown reduction because
I don't talk about cooldown reduction because we don't really understand it adequately at the moment to be able to get like proper precise values quite yet. We still need to look into that a little bit more because there's a lot to know about cooldown stuff.
Sure, but also from an emblem perspective, Mew and Mewtwo, not good. Also, Mew cannot be obtained through the energy reward system. There is some other way that we're going to get Mew. Don't know what it is yet.
I'm very curious to see if people are just going to pop on a bunch of Mews as a build.
It's not going to be good. If you're at minus 500 HP,
awful.
If you're at minus 500 HP, I'm gonna blow you up.
Me when I'm
yes,
missing,
they have a 6% chance. They have a 6% chance to.
% of your laning HP and laning phase, something like that.
It's fine. You'll be fine. That'll be a fun challenge. You'll see people do that on YouTube in the next week, and then we'll have to say we don't avow people playing Ultimate Bravery with emblems, and
Oh, Ultimate Bravery with emblems. I need to make that web app. That sounds fun.
No, you don't need to. We already have enough people who are trolling in ranked because they don't, and they want to have fun in different ways, ruining games. We don't need more.
True.
Or you could just listen to the poker app.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Was there a string, like in the initial wave of 99? Wasn't there a string of 10 consecutive mons in the poke rap that you'd be able to use for emblems? I vaguely remember that.
I remember having the discussion. I don't think we actually found one. The closest we could get to was 9.
But I thought we had to breach over lines in order to get there. It was 9 in one line, but
I want to now spend some time going through the poker app and seeing what the best consecutive string of 10 emblems is.
Can we just that would be
interesting.
I want to hold that as a competition, please, if we could, but
that does sound like a fun contest.
Yeah, that'll be something we'll do after the after the Wishmaker.
Ooh, I've got an idea, actually. I'm going to do it for a Twitter giveaway, and then I'm going to give away, like, an eShop gift card for Scissor or something. That sounds fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Hopefully, in the next little bit, fingers crossed, who knows what's going to happen long term. But, as I mentioned earlier, the Math Cord and the Reddit Cord together we now have a better contact with TPCI, and they gave us a handful of codes for both of our servers to use for promotional stuff and get people back into Unite and interested in the community again. So if you guys are just hearing this now, then we might still have the, depending on if you're hearing the VOD or hearing it live, we have the Wishmaker event going on right now where people are able to come in and bake a character concept, and there's actual prizes supplied by TPCI for it. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get more of those so we can do more contests like that one in the future.
Okay, Crustle. I have to talk about Crustle before we go.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to go for Crustle before I forget that.
So Crustle.
With Shell Smash, it's very similar. Shell Smash will take away your base stats, not your plus emblem plus items. It'll take away your base stats and give you that attack. And if that number is odd when you get to it, it'll round up or down. So level 12 and 13, I believe it was, Crustle has 12. It has 407 defense. Its conversion rate at that point is 0.5. You will get 407 divided by
203.
204. 0.5.
Or 204 round up.
Yeah, it'll be 203.5. It'll round up to 204. And the funny thing is the minus portions. If you just have minus defense emblems, nothing will happen. But if you have minus emblems plus the focus band, it'll sum those two together, and your defense will be the focus band plus any sort of defense bonuses from your emblems in the first place.
Basically, you can't go below 0, and it's going to ignore any of your bonuses when it comes to the amount you get from Shell Smash. That's also true. That also used to be true. So the amount of stats you have left over is essentially all the stats that you have combined outside of your base, which means that the emblems give you what your items give you. If your items don't give you any defenses, then you'll be at 0. And if your emblems don't give you any defenses, then you'll be at 0. And no matter what you subtract away from it, as if 0 minus whatever, will still end up being 0.
Crustle is legitimately one of the weirdest Pokemon that I can think of on how to do this calculation for, because Sturdy exists.
Yeah, it's just like Sturdy, when you account for Shell Smash, it's just so weird.
I say we just delete Crustle and move on with our lives.
But we
How
need
does
Bug.
Sturdy work with Shell Smash even? Oh my gosh, I don't even know actually.
Well, it
We have
doesn't.
a
Is the
bug.
point.
It's called Scizor. Well,
So
almost.
when Shell Smash is active, you're at 0 and the sturdy doesn't do anything. But if
No,
you,
no.
if Shell,
The sturdy is added on top. On top, so you will have the sturdy defenses.
So that's dumb.
No, that's how you want it to work. You don't want your
Yeah,
sturdy.
I know, but
defense to go away.
it's just
It
I mean,
incentivizes you
might
to
wa-
have more sturdy stacks before you shell smash, so you take less damage.
Which does mean that if you have any items that care, actually, wait a second. So then, if I have like a -5 defense emblems and I have sturdy active, does the -5 from emblems affect sturdy? It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually remember, and I didn't remember to test that.
Sturdy's a flat
Well,
amount. Sturdy's a flat
we will look that
amount.
up.
It doesn't matter.
Later.
Sturdy's a flat amount.
No, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter whether sturdy's a flat amount or not. What matters in this case is if I'm at full HP and I have a -5 and no other buffing to my defenses, I have 0 defense. I don't have -5 defense. But if I have one stack of sturdy, let's say it gives me 14, am I at 9 or am I at 14?
Be 9.
It should be 9, but, Timmy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not 100% confident because I realize I don't actually know with certainty.
You are tempting me to push the "Where's the secret lab" button.
Wrong lever. Anything else we need to chat about? That's most of the things that come to mind. Order of operation, item to emblem substitutions, unique corner cases, crit emblems suck.
Flat percents versus flats versus percents of the same stat. I guess actually there's one more thing we can talk about for that one.
I did also mention how 50 HP is about equivalent to like 9-ish defense and special defense together. That is important of a distinction because that means you need to have 18 defense points in order to be able to make up for 58 more HP. That essentially makes the parity just not at all worth it to do the other way around. So.
Worth mentioning, Mew and Mewtwo as emblems, I'm sorry, are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
can gain 6% CDR in exchange for 500 health.
Yep, it's terrible. They're awful, horrendous. Should not be
Or
about
you can
playing.
get 5% CDR in exchange for 400 health.
Ooh, didn't think about it that way, did you, liberals?
It is a slightly better conversion rate.
Well, you would actually almost be better off running 7 blacks plus 2
3
plus a couple purples, but
yeah, it'd be like 5.5% or 5.8%.
Correct. You can get 7 black emblems and a well-rounded page without losing that much and trade off 2%. You basically would trade off 2% full CDR, which you would get by subtracting 500 health from the Mewtwo emblems, for just like, oh no, I lost 2%, but I'm not nuking my health pool, which we've already talked about as this is the stat.
Yes.
This is the stat you don't nuke.
So is there anything else that we need to talk about? Or
I mean, there's Navy emblems. We can talk about those.
Oh yeah, the new introduced. Actually, Navy emblems and pink emblems are the two ones that people like always ask about.
Oh, yes,
So
yellow as well.
Yes, yellow as well.
And yellow. Let's go through each one. Basically, navies are 3, 5, 7s, and each tier is 1%, 2%, 4% reduced. Unite, move, charge rate. So
here's this thing about Unite, move, charge rate. Unite, move, charge rate. You get a flat amount of energy per second. And
900.
It is 900, yes. But that amount ticks on the second for the full amount. It's not like a quarter second you get 225. Yeah. It's not half a second you get 450. It is 1 second you get 900. So, regardless of how much ultimate CDR you have, you will always, or how much energy rate you have, you will always save a static amount of seconds. So I made a spreadsheet that plots out exactly how much time you save. It will...
It's not much.
On the highest cooldown ultimate in the game, decidueye. I'd have to double check. I might be wrong on that, but like either way, 150 seconds is a very 150 seconds / I don't remember the exact Unite charge, but whatever. It's a very high one. Is a lot. It can save you at most 2 seconds. Usually it's saving you 1. It is 3 emblem slots with 150 HP, to be fair, worth 1 second off of a 100-ish second ability. Even if you're considering farming.
Until we have other Navy emblems, probably not.
Yes.
Correct.
So yeah, it's a very, very small amount. It probably won't matter, and that's if you're not killing anything else as well. Because I don't does it increase the amount
Yes,
of
it
people you
does.
kill?
But the thing
Yes,
is, it doesn't
Okay.
matter because
It works exactly like AMP.
Yeah, it works
Yeah,
exactly like
you
AMP. It's just
might-
1/6 of an amp.
Yeah, you might save yourself one, like 1 or 2 seconds, in like no matter how you're doing it, like that's all that you're gonna end up saving,
Yeah.
because 4% of 150 seconds is like up to 6 seconds in theory, but because of how everything rounds, it won't really do it like that.
If I have Delphox's ultimate, which is a 75,000 energy cost ultimate. If I kill any amount of farm that is not 6 or 8, I will save 1 second. If I kill 6 or 8 wild mobs between my ult casts, my Navy 3 actually didn't do anything.
Oh, and then you also have to remember that you have to use it immediately off cooldown in order for the Navy to do anything.
You also have to
That's another thing
insta-press the
about
button.
small CDR. When you're looking at moves that you don't immediately spam off cooldown, CDR does virtually nothing on them. Because yes, if you have like a 2% CDR on your 5-second move, yes, you are absolutely correct that you're going to stay like a 1/10 of a second. Cool. However, are you going to be able to use that 1/10 of a second in any beneficial way? Like, the only time that it ends up being worthwhile for you is if you cast it in the first 1/10 of a second you could.
Yep.
If you don't, well, then you just wasted the CDR.
There are
Same
two
thing with this.
cases that where like a 1/10 of a second can ever be worth it. One, charge moves, because charge moves can like stack up, and two, moves that are like Electro Ball adjacent, where you can kind of just mash the button and you're going to do something.
Yep.
Zarina is
the big
also
one-
a really good corner case on that too, because if you are literally mashing moves off cooldown in a team fight, so you get more Queenly stacks. However, even 4% isn't worth going off of the all-rounder page that we have inside of the Discord posted right now. 8% was actually worth it on her, but when they cut it in half, it didn't. It would need a lot more testing, but
Can I get confirmation from Laz that egg counts on Blissey are affected by CDR?
Yes.
Which means that cooldown reduction absolutely matters for Blissey quite a bit, because
It also affects your cast
the big thing,
between
like
eggs,
I said,
by the way. Like it affects both.
yeah. When I said before that the 0.1 seconds probably doesn't matter because you have to spam it off cooldown. The cool thing about charge moves is that since they're always charging whether you're using them or not, you actually have until you're completely fully charged in order for it to be worthwhile. And you can compound that difference, and it can be really, really good. If you're always tapping your eggs before you get full charge and you never reach full charge eggs, then you're just getting a strict damage boost essentially. You're just getting them out earlier than you normally would be able to. So as long as you actually do get a cooldown reduction, because the whole 4-frame thing we've got to talk about and figure more about that. But as long as you do get any cooldown reduction, even in the slightest, it will end up benefiting mons that have those kind of charge moves. I vaguely remember it doesn't work very well with Decidui. Was Decidui the one that was weird?
There was actually
some
patched.
move.
Yep, that was patched.
Okay, it was fixed. Okay, good. Because I remember that there was a mon that had a screwy charge move, but I'm glad that it's fixed now.
Yeah, every charge move is right now currently fine. We'll see if any like bugs come up afterwards. But basically, charge moves should. Charge moves are going to work the way that you want them to for CDR.
And they're arguably some of the best moves to use with CDR.
Correct. So next we got pink and yellow emblems still. So which one do you want to take?
Let's do pinks.
I think
Pinks are fun.
looking at the pinks right now, if they continue on with the same trend of the base stats, the pinks actually have potentially some merit if the tenacity stat or the hindrance reduction stat works the way that I think it should. Because 16% reduced, if you put it on, I believe it's supporters, tanks, Zarina, and Sylveon, all have the higher tenacity stat. At 30, they have 35%. I can't remember exactly which level they get it, but if you get the pink emblems and it works the way we want it to, that is a 51% reduced stun duration on you, or just like CC duration.
Additive. It is additive,
It's not
so
worth it.
that
at the moment.
What?
It's not worth it at the moment.
Well, no. At the moment, I mean, we also have to know how it works properly. It's one of those things that like, it could end up being very well worthwhile. It's one of those things that probably isn't super worthwhile at the lower numbers, but becomes really worthwhile on mons that already have a high amount of that at high levels because it's additive and the stat itself is multiplicative against the duration. Having 15% doesn't mean like plus 15% or whatever it is, or plus 16% doesn't mean that hindrances are 16% shorter. It means that 16 out of how much hindrance percent you still have remaining, it'll be that much shorter. So if you have 35%, adding 16 means you go from 65% down to 50%. That's like a 25% reduction in the duration of stuns than what you already had base. That ends up being a lot of frames saved.
There will also be a factor of like what pink emblems get double colors. Like Azumarill will be a blue pink if we get to it, right?
Pink is looking to be a more defensive-oriented one. By putting on all of the pink emblems that we currently have, it gives you about 150 extra HP. Yeah, if you ignore Mime as a stat, you get about 200 HP from the 4 that we can get, and then you lose 5 in each defensive stat. The biggest one, and the one we still have to do testing on with speed, is they also look like they're going to potentially be a speed sink.
Which honestly feels perfectly on brand for hindrance reduction.
Yeah, you want to be a juggernaut. You're not going to be fast. Yeah. You don't want to get CC'd. So these emblems are on flavor and have the base stats that you want. So if they are going to be good, the stats already kind of back that up as well.
If we get Cleffa and Igglybuff, and they just kind of continue this like structure, then I think that pinks could very well be one of the best colors.
Also, but pinks are not worth it unless you're at 7. Because
well, I don't entirely agree. I think, like, yes, at 7 it becomes very much worthwhile. I think that 5 is, not a bad pull. It's like, it's not great. Like, proportionally, you get a lot more out of 7 because 7 to 16 is huge, but at what we have at the moment, and what I think we're going to have for a while, is a lot of the pinks are going to be single pinks. I think that 5 would be more worthwhile if we introduce, into the world a lot of dual pink colors. But if we're stuck with singles, then you have to kind of just Hail Mary straight into the 7. There's no reason to go for 5 because it's just not proportionally worth it per slot.
So Gen 2 has Cleffa, Igglybuff, the Togepi line.
Ooh, the Togepi line.
Marill, Azumarill.
Hey, that can get you a white pink.
They didn't give us a white pink with Wigglytuff. I doubt they're gonna.
Yeah, but Wigglytuff is a very normal, so maybe that's just like another reason that they didn't necessarily want to.
Togetic, which would be fairy flying, and I know they didn't do it with Charizard, but maybe they've been kind of inconsistent.
Snubbull and Gramble, yep, those are also fairies.
Snubbull, yeah, I was gonna say I always hate those two, but.
So we'll see what they give us. Whatever crossovers it has and whatever base stats the other ones have will kind of determine if this line is potentially worth going into.
I guess that's another pin this because I want to ask about this later. But what types of color duels do we want, like each individually? But the last one we got to talk about is yellow. Then.
Yep.
Okay, so yellow, by its very nature of the fact that we don't have a very easy way to quantify movement speed, and by a very easy way I mean we don't really have a way at all, is Feely Crafty.
It's also, I believe, the only the only color stat in the game that doesn't follow the 1-2-4 like proportionality ratio, because for some reason it goes 4-6-12 as opposed to 3-6-12,
yes,
which is really irritating.
I will say from my experience, I have played a lot of very, very stupid shit invading, and by stupid shit I mean everything from like Snorlax to Talonflame to I played a game of Invade Squirtle, everything that like sounds like, hey, this might be able to invade. I've tried it. Yellow 7 does feel very impactful, but
okay, well,
the stats are shit.
Yeah, most of the minus stats come from your offensive stats, which means it looks like they're leaning into your move speed like this being pseudo considered an offensive stat.
I can see 2 yellows that I would consider. I mean, that was fine. I get like, oh man, so many of them are minus HP. Oh
Yep.
my lord.
These are very
Pikachu's
much
not bad.
These
This
are
is
very
go
much
fast.
emblems. Yeah, these are very much emblems that are like, okay, the opponent's goal on the other side of the map is open. I'm gonna go score that and zoom over there right now. That's what these yellow emblems speak to me for.
Zapdos is pretty good.
Yes, and it's one of the ones that I commonly use, but I don't use it because it's yellow. I use it because it's white.
It's 50 HP for -2 attack. Yeah, it's worth it. Pretty much none of the other ones are worth it though.
And only Voltorb and Electrode actually give you plus speed in the yellow line as well currently.
Yep, but the problem is that Voltorb gives you -50 HP, which is not a worthwhile trade-off.
I mean, it depends how fast you want to go.
I mean, if you want to go full, like, hilarious full speed ahead, then yeah, go for it.
Gotta go fast.
I have ran fucking Yellow 7 Floatstone Snorlax. Very funny.
Oh, hilarious. Awful, but hilarious.
I don't even think it was that bad.
Let's quickly take a detour. If I have Voltorb, Zapdos, Electrode, Aerodactyl, and Dugtrio, I'm getting the first tier of yellow bonus. I'm getting the first tier of white bonus. I'm getting the first tier of brown bonus. That's giving you 140 flat movement speed, and I'm taking a -10 hit to my defense and a -4 to my attack. My HP is completely neutralized. That's still 5 emblems. Like it's not the worst, is what I'm trying to say here.
No, you're not trading off as many of your stats for move speed, which I think is the ideal setup. Just going Unga Bunga full into it might not be the way to go, but trying to balance it out and getting some of it, I think this is one of the ones where it might actually be worth it. But again, we got to figure out how to figure out whatever move speed is.
Yeah, it's just like it's so difficult to quantify meaningfully. And based on the fact that I now know how the game works in like 15 hertz kind of thing, I would put significant money on move speed also being bucketed. And it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to figure out in which buckets mons move faster. If every mon is the same kind of buckets, are they large buckets, small buckets? It could be like some weird circumstance where like between like 3305 and 3380 are the same bucket, which means just getting a slight amount of movement speed is all you need. But it could also be that the buckets are like really tiny and that pretty much all move speed bonuses are going to be meaningful. Who knows?
Use them at your own risk, I would say, but you can definitely kind of... You can see it by, like, confirmation bias, but that's difficult to just... That's all you've got. You've got confirmation bias to a degree. You're looking at it, you're like, I think I'm moving faster, but you can't say definitively, yeah, I'm moving faster at this rate.
You could, theoretically, measure every single viable jungler's approximate clear speeds with every single build, and then also measure your pathing for the level 1 invade to see which exact tier of yellow you would need in which matchups are the most common. But that's a lot of work. I haven't even done that yet, and I'm literally paid to do that kind of shit. So if you want to do that, go ahead.
I mean, also Floatstone exists. Like, just the item, rather.
Well, I mean, you can do both. I've stolen people's ball plays.
I mean, it really depends, like, because right now, for yellow, electric types in Pokemon have typically been mono-electric. Like, there's very few cases of dual typings, and the dual typings are kind of what matters for emblem builds. Because as we see with the physical sets, we're getting 4 sets of emblem bonuses typically.
Yeah, because like if you max it all out, you have 20 total air quotes slots worth of colors to use, and with you get that means that you could get 3 7s and a 6, or you get a handful of 5s and a 4 and a 2. Like depending on how you arrange it, you can get a lot of color bonuses. And I think that that's eventually where we're going to end up, where we have so many different mons on a table that if they keep building us with emblems, then the optimal build will essentially just be, well, which one gives us the stats that we need, and then can we just min-max the color combinations for them to just get the best possible color schemes we want. But for now, we're a little too limited. Anyways, so I think that's a good place to wrap up. Is there anything else you guys need to talk about, do you think?
I would say probably just the last thing, like if we had to say a pair of colors for new emblems, what do we want? and I think a white-black.
Give me another
I
brown.
think a white-black.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like what do we want, as in like what would be strong or what would be like what's on our wish list?
Yes.
Because
Both,
mine is
really.
pink white. Pink white is mine, 100%.
I just want black paired with all of the things I want to put on Serena. So, black brown, black white. If they decide they want to be cheeky, black pink. But I don't think that's until like what, Gen 5 or 6 until you get a Dark Fairy.
Dark
It's
Fairy, I
also
think,
a
is
great band.
Grim Snarl.
Is there a generation of Pokemon that was based on Korea in its structure, so I can make a black pink joke?
What? No, I don't think so. Not.
I don't think so. Like there was America, there was Britain, there was but I don't think there was anyone based on Korea, so I can't make a black pink joke. Damn it.
Good effort.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that are gonna be on our Christmas list. I think that the one that I just want to see more of, I just want to see more like plus HP minus other stats, because that's just gonna be what's gonna ultimately see the most versatility, most play. Because when you just want to fill out a color, getting plus HP minus some crap will be what 90% of people are gonna end up using as the chat fillers.
Can I go on a little bit of a fucking... this is the opposite of a wish list, but I do feel like it needs to be said.
A bitch list, if you will.
Yes. Holy fucking shit, can we never print anything like Almanite ever again? Jesus Christ, whose idea was this? It is minus HP plus special attack mono brown. It is the most fucking useless emblem in the world. It is a meme on my stream at this point where someone will ask me about this emblem and I will flame it for 5 minutes. I have done this in every single one of my streams except for one. Like,
Parasect says hi.
It's mono brown plus special attack minus HP.
it is the most...
What the actual shit?
Like, Parasect
so
at least has a
bad.
niche use case on, like, 2 Pokemon. Almanite has never been and will never be useful. There is no universe where this is okay.
That's so
Look,
funny.
Praise Helix already got its time in the limelight. That's probably why.
I made it.
I mean, isn't it like comparatively as bad as Weepinbell?
I
Like,
just
it's about as bad as Weepinbell,
No,
right?
it's worse. It's so much worse.
because
I mean, it's about as
attackers cannot use their special attack stat really at all,
Yes,
and they
that's
lose
fair.
HP. And then, like, congratulations, you just gained 1 towards your brown, and it could be better as literally anything else. This, in my opinion, this emblem is worse than Ditto.
We never talked about Ditto.
Yes.
What
yeah,
is
we're talking about
Ditto?
Ditto.
Why is Ditto? What? That was the literal perfect. This is your wild card emblem. Merge it into something else. What is it? White. 0 flat stats. What do you
Honestly, I
want me
think
to
that's
do with
the
that?
funniest fucking troll.
That's like
My
that was a
favorite
nice
part
April
of
Fool's
Ditto
emblem.
is the fact that it doesn't matter the rarity at which you equip it at. It always does nothing. You literally can just pay 100 coins to do nothing.
Yeah, because a gold Ditto does nothing. That's so fucking funny, dude.
And now we have the premise of why we have the disappointed Ditto emblem emote.
So it's funny though, because if you look at stats that have if you look at like white mods that have plus 50 HP, there is enough. There are 7 of them. You're absolutely able to get, you max out your HP in white to get there. There's no real like reason for you to go for, like, if there was a lack of whites, if there was like really not very many whites at all, especially ones that have high HP, then you're like, well, I kind of want to pull out the whites and I don't really want to go into other stats and lowering other things. It might be a perfectly reasonable choice to make. That's not the environment we're in right now.
So you know what I think? I think Ditto is supposed to be the equivalent of Zapdos. It should have been 50 plus 50 HP minus 2 attack. Because for the special attack side, we have Kangaskhan and Pidgeot.
That's fair.
Either way, like, please, if you're gonna make the system a bunch of RNG bullshit, at least don't give us, like, so aggressively bad of options.
Literal duds.
Yes.
Literal duds.
And that's not even mentioning the fact that everything with minus 8, like, literally one emblem with minus HP at all is worth equipping. One.
Wait, which one?
Beedrill.
Oh,
Yes,
for
because of the
black
color
green.
bonus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it and Mr. Mime are the only 2 minus HP and dual color ones. Mr. Mimes are pink and purple. Purple's a joke. Pink, we talked about. But Beedrill is plus special attack plus CDR. Like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. None of the other ones are anywhere close.
Wait, sorry. Beedrill is green black, which translates into plus CDR. Like, it doesn't actually give CDR itself.
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. I was talking about the two ones that, like, the two colors that it gives are special attack and CDR versus Mr. Mime, which gives special defense and hindrance reduction. Which, like, special defense, if you're losing HP, you shouldn't be getting special defense increasing. That's just stupid. And then the hindrance effect reduction, that might be worthwhile, but that doesn't make Mr. Mime, because it has a dual color, any good. The only dual color that's actually decent in minus HP would be Beedrill. Yeah.
Agreed.
I kind of wanted to ask for them to be like, hey, can you please rebalance some of the emblems? But I'm afraid to legitimately ask for that, because then they're going to come in and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I got you. And then another finger on the monkey's paw curls and everything's fucked.
Hey, remember when everybody was like, oh my gosh, crit's so OP, and then they nerfed it to be useless? I remember that.
Man, I can't wait
when people
until...
complain about Zapdos when we got Rayquaza?
Rayquaza's still better, don't at me. It's the meta that's toxic, not the map.
I disagree.
Agree, but
okay, I agree that it's the meta that's toxic, not the map, but I also think that Zapdos is a better objective than Rayquaza.
Nope.
No. We'll just do a Rayquaza Zapdos episode at some point.
That'll just be yes.
If you monkey's paw and ask for them to rebalance, I cannot wait until they go for Ghastly and like, oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna like give Ghastly pink, and that's essentially like kind of things they're gonna do. Like, oh yeah, you
Which
know,
doesn't make sense either.
I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Ghastly and Little Cup used to always run Farium Z in Gen 7, so clearly that makes him as worthy of a pink as much as Mr. Mime is worthy of the poison typing.
No, purple is not poison typing. Purple is psychic.
Yes.
Poison dark is black.
Yeah.
Wait, Nidoran is purple though.
Yep.
He's not psychic.
Yes, and the reason for that is partially because of the some of these emblem colors are going off the TCG colors, which Nidoran, Nidoqueen have typically been green and purple, or green and psychic energy instead of dark
that's
energy.
just dumb. They should just made the fucking types. I don't know why they did it this way.
Yes.
It's just so convoluted and complicated when it
or they shouldn't have followed a certain precedent and designed these so that things weren't completely undoable at certain points in time, like when they released the first batch and you couldn't even get certain bonuses.
Yep. I mean, you still can't. There are some bonuses you still can't get.
Still can't get 7
Like,
pink. Still can't get anything beyond 3 navy.
Yeah.
You can't get anything beyond. You can't get 5 yellow.
Like,
you can.
I respect
yes,
kind of what they're
I had
doing.
Magic 2 speed, but
Yeah, you can max yellow.
I'm dumb. Yeah,
but
that was me being dumb. Sorry.
I appreciate the fact that they wanted to go in order, but you're not going in order with this game currently, and it's cute. It's adorable. Sure, you know what? Everyone gets their flavor and their emblems. But for the love of God, make them balanced and playable and set certain things that you want us to do. Not, this is going to eventually get posted in here because, well, this is the typing we have for Gen 2. It's like, that's the worst possible way to do it.
That being said, it does provide you with a desire to continue playing, to charge up your energy, and to hoard it until the next drop of emblems, for instance.
Yeah, but the next drop of emblems could be more interesting, unique ways to build, rather than I'm collecting the original 151 because I just inserted red back into my Switch somehow.
True.
Anyways, I think it's a good place to call it for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the podcast today. I appreciate having you all come on. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and watching. Once again, thank you to our panelists, our world champion Lazadin. Where can people find you?
I am on Twitter, twitter.com/Lazadin1. I am streaming every single day of the weekdays now at twitch.tv/Lazadin11. In particular, I do a mix of variety on Fridays, but then mostly Unite content during the week, but I do coaching streams, so if you are interested in improving at Unite.
Sounds good. We also have our creator, SteveMyCat. Where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/SteveMyCat. You can also find me on Twitter at SteveMyCatTV.
Awesome. And Evo, anything to plug?
Twitter, IANFAN_13. That's my name. I have Evochron 13 as a Twitch, but I don't stream too often. Otherwise, you can find me on the Mathcord and various other Discords.
Perfect. And thank you, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. This episode was brought to you in part by UniteDB, the foremost authority on the mathematics and formulas hidden within Pokemon Unite. The Mathcord works hand in hand with them to ensure the most up-to-date information is available to you all, and we hope you appreciate this resource. Check them out at unite-db.com. That's unite-db.com for formulas, patch notes, tier lists, and a comprehensive mechanics FAQ. This episode is also brought to you by the Mathcord Patreon. Specifically, I'd like to give a shout-out to Aharon Turpey, Circa, and Jake Sprague, who support us on the Funder tier, as well as all other patrons that are $5 and $15 tiers, who help make this podcast a thing. If you'd like to support us or have your own, or want to have your name read out at the end of each Mathcast episode, feel free to support us at patreon.com/mathcord. Thank you all for watching, and have a great one.